Everything we can see with our physical eyes in the entire universe is just 4% of what exists. We can liken the seed of the soul within us to the seed of a fruit. All information is within that seed. By freeing our perception from the constraints of the concept of time and moving to the present, we can realize that the body is actually a manifestation of the soul. Every event, every person we distinguish as good or bad, actually serves our attainment of truth. The interpretation of these emotional reactions, how to manage them, what meanings they carry, is related to consciousness. The soul is a great blessing bestowed upon us by the Creator, the most fundamental part of human existence. Its essence, trying to understand it, is to try to understand ourselves, our reason for being, the universe. Hello friends, today we will talk about the soul, one of the most mysterious beings. What is the soul? Where does it come from? How does it shape us? In religious sources, it is stated that Adam came to life when the Creator breathed his own spirit into him. This, in my opinion, is an expression intended to show that consciousness and intellect, which set humans apart from other living beings, are given as a divine gift. Notice that modern science's research on energy and consciousness also seems like a reflection of these ancient teachings. Quantum physics, zero-point energy, the uncertainty principle, dark matter and energy are concepts that in a way indirectly support the existence of the soul. Now, let's examine more deeply the journey of the soul in this material realm and how a person reaches a level of consciousness through the soul. In the most comprehensible and simple sense, the soul means energy. In the account of Adam's creation, the expression that he breathed into him from his own spirit is used in some sources to mean life came to the body. From this perspective, the soul becomes, in a sense, the breath of the Creator. What we call life is actually an energy present in every living being, while by saying soul, it seems to imply a distinction here, because we are also scientifically certain that the Creator has bestowed upon humans something that separates them from all other living beings: consciousness, the faculty of reasoning. Spirit and mind are among the first created. However, neither spirit nor mind can be touched or seen. To be visible, the soul clothes itself with a body in this material world. Even though many of us know the existence of the mind and spirit as a feeling, just as a fish cannot realize the sea it lives in, we also cannot see and comprehend with our physical eyes that everything in this world we live in is made up of energy, spirit, and divine light. In quantum physics, concepts like zero-point energy, dark matter, the double-slit experiment, and many other consciousness studies and energy theories also indirectly support the existence of the soul, actually. Zero-point energy indicates that a system continues to exist even when cooled down to absolute zero temperature. There is uncertainty between the position and momentum of particles. This is called the uncertainty principle in quantum mechanics. Therefore, even at absolute zero, particles cannot be completely motionless, and as a result of these movements, there is always an energy remaining, which is called zero-point energy. On the other hand, science talks about the existence of an invisible part in space called dark matter and dark energy, and that this part makes up 96% of the entire universe. This clearly means that everything we can see with our physical eyes in the entire universe is only 4% of what exists. In my previous video titled The Womb of the Universe, I also mentioned it. I said that the soul encompasses the body and is an entity that controls everything. We can compare the seed of the soul within us to a fruit seed. All the information is inside that seed. What kind of tree it will become, how much it will grow, what fruit it will produce. The soul represents the truth beyond the physical world as the essence of a person. Just as steam becomes visible when it condenses into water and further solidifies into ice, The body is the densified form of the soul. Densifying from the realm of the spirit, it descends down to the earthly realm. The body and the spirit are intertwined, actually. At certain moments in our lives, we may have deeply felt the presence of the soul. During an intense moment of meditation, in an internal awareness or deep experience, the presence of the soul may reveal itself. These experiences remind us that we are not just a physical body, and that we are part of a much deeper existence. For this reason, even though the existence of the soul is abstract, it can manifest itself in very concrete ways in our life experience. For example, many people who experience near-death experiences and scientists who seriously study these cases conclude that consciousness definitely continues after death. By freeing our perception from the constraints of the concept of time and being present, we can realize that the body is actually a manifestation of the soul. Of course, this does not make the body insignificant. On the contrary, it shows how much the soul needs the body for its evolution. Because a person cannot reach meaning without passing through the material realm. Both are for the person to reach their own truth. The difference between them is only a matter of degrees. In the journey of evolution, every stage is necessary and meaningful. One way or another, we will go through all the steps. Just as thought descends from the realm of meaning to the world realm, manifesting concretely, we too must pass through here to reach the meaning, to reach our essence by becoming more refined and delicate. In other words, the soul evolves by ascending through the consciousness levels. The soul's goal is to reach higher levels of consciousness, to learn and mature by gaining new experiences in life. This process is a part of the journey of understanding oneself and the universe. In fact, by being in this world, we are beings who have received the great grace of the Creator. Our experiences in the world are so valuable. Our pains, the difficulties we endure, our happiness, every emotion we feel, every experience we live, every event and every person that we categorize as good or bad actually serves our reach towards the truth. This journey is the soul's effort to reach the truth, its essence, and the Creator. Ceasing to exist in God and becoming one. The soul is not an individual entity, but parts of the reflection of the Creator. However, I want to highlight something here. Not parts of the Creator's own essence, but parts of the reflection. Here, I want to touch on Ibn Arabi's concept of Wahdat al-Wujud. It means the unity of being. It's actually a concept misunderstood by many. According to this understanding, the only truly existing being is the Creator. All other beings are a reflection of His existence and therefore do not have independent existence. In other words, the entire realm of beings is a manifestation or form of the Creator. Souls are parts of a collective whole, and this connection is a source of the most beautiful emotions that keep us together, such as love, compassion, and empathy. At this point, some people who are against the existence of the soul are asking this question. The source of emotions is hormones. What does it have to do with the soul? In this situation, I also ask this question. Who manages our brain that secretes hormones, the neural activities, the internal emotional stimuli? What is the hidden source behind that curtain? Let's take the feeling of love, for example. Why did you release oxytocin hormone only for that one person you said you fell in love with at first sight and not for others? Why did you suddenly feel so close to that person as if you've known them for lifetimes? Only the soul, the higher consciousness, knows the answers to these questions. You start to know as you live and see. That is, if you can look at your experiences with awareness, of course. When viewed from a concrete perspective, this situation may seem like just an unnecessary chemical process. But as you gain experience and go through the processes you need to go through, if you have been able to read the messages life has left you, you see this. You specifically needed to encounter that person at that moment and become close to each other, and then incorporate all the experiences you would have into your soul, because both of you needed this whole process mutually. Additionally, I cannot pass without mentioning a very important discovery in modern neuroscience, especially for those who say that the brain controls everything. But no, the brain does not control everything in every situation. This scientific discovery helps us understand the complex relationship between consciousness and the nervous system. It is called the reflex arc. In some situations and conditions, for example in moments of danger, our reflexes, that is our body, activate before our brain and perform the correct action in time. So the body executes the movement before the brain steps in, and the brain notices it a few seconds later. If the brain stepped in first, we wouldn't be able to perform the reflex that quickly. In addition to the discussion about what manages our brain that secretes hormones, our neural activities, our internal and emotional stimuli, I want to talk about something perhaps much more important that we should focus on. Let's set aside the chemicals we secrete and what manages them. We are missing the truly important aspect. The interpretation of these emotional reactions, how they will be managed, and the meanings they carry are related to consciousness. For example, adrenaline can trigger excitement and fear in the body. However, how you interpret this experience, how you feel, and how you react can vary from person to person, and this is a function of mental consciousness. Everyone can interpret it differently and give different reactions according to their level of consciousness. Yes, the brain produces certain reactions through hormones. However, conscious awareness, thinking, decision-making, and controlling those emotional reactions point to a deeper spiritual dimension. And if we are open to change and development, our level of consciousness evolves through these events, emotions, and our responses to them, whether we realize it or not. Besides, limiting our emotions and consciousness to only biological processes would be a very narrow perspective. Research results make it very clear, thanks to thousands of cases of near-death experiences, such as astral experiences people have during anesthesia in surgery or while in a coma. Science is not solely dependent on the functioning of the physical brain. There are many documented cases proving that conscious awareness and emotions are experienced even when the brain is inactive or not functioning. In fact, there are many ways for the soul to manage its bodily manifestation here. Through desires and wants, through willpower, through the brain, nervous system, or heart, through emotions, feelings, thoughts. But this is entirely another video topic. In my video titled From Womb to Cosmos, I had elaborated in detail from metaphysical and scientific perspectives how the baby gains consciousness and selfhood during the 9-month process in the womb, and how the verse "I breathed into him of my spirit" manifests at which stage. Of course, God knows best. These are just the conclusions I reached after all my research. Those who want to watch can click on the video link I will leave here. Many scientists, past and present, have accepted the existence of the soul and conducted countless studies to prove it. Looking at the level science has reached today, it is impossible to think that metaphysics does not exist. With the saying, "Science is lame without metaphysics," and "Religion is blind without science," it is clearly expressed that science should not overlook metaphysics, and that religion should be supported by logic and reason. Matter and meaning are like water contained within a vessel, similar to the relationship between soul and body. This topic is actually so deep that what I'm trying to fit here cannot even be a drop of an infinite sea of knowledge. But even this drop is worth thinking about, trying to understand and sharing, because the soul is a great blessing bestowed upon us by the Creator, the most fundamental part of human existence. Its essence is to try to understand it, to try to understand ourselves, our reason for existence, and the universe. The soul's purpose is to reach its own truth, to attain the truth. This journey is a lifelong adventure for all of us. As part of the universal whole, each of us leaves our own unique mark on existence during this journey. Our awareness of the soul's existence shows that there is a truth beyond life, which we chase after, torment ourselves for, burn lives and break hearts over. All the gains and pleasures for which we stray from our essence will end one day and remind us that the real truth is the light and unity consciousness we carry in our hearts. I hope that we become those who remember, not those who forget. Stay with love and understanding.